airing out show.
How important is the concept of family to you?
Well, as a matter of fact, it's the most important thing. Right now, I got some family problems at home. Had to reschedule a show for Arizona, and may have had to knock off, the second half of this leg of the tour. But I went back yesterday. We had to cancel a show in Mexicali because of the civil unrest there. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but Mexicans got some real hot water going on down there, and I didn't want to put my kid, because my kid works with me and Robo's kid, and or my guys or me. There's no sense in going down to do one show in Mexico and wind up getting kidnapped or shot in the head. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We can go back another day. So when that show fell through, I've been on the go. As Des, I've been on the go like for the last 48 hours fixing personal problems at home. But the bottom line is that without your family and without that solid foundation, you're really, you're just out there hanging. You can easily come apart or come unglued. And the thing that keeps you together when the shit hits the fan is a strong family. So.
Yeah, because you can have all the success in the world
and have nothing.
Yeah,
and have nothing.
And be alone.
So these guys had my back. If I had to cancel the tour, we would have done it. But I think I worked it out, and we're gonna go back home and gonna spend time. I got a little baby girl, and I leave my wife, and it's hard for her. So we're gonna go home. We're gonna work on a really great record, maybe a couple of records. I think it's time for us to quit knocking around in every shithole in the world and start focusing on your legacy is your music, what you leave behind.
Mm-hmm.
Live shows are nice for today, don't get me wrong. And I really, when we came back, the main thing was to bring the band back for the young kids who never saw the band, and they heard about it from their folks. So the thing is, now that we've come back and we've done that for the last, 15 years? You've been in last 7 or 8. We've been on the road constantly, and we've been playing, 100 shows a year for the last 8 years. So it's time for us to really focus on new music. So
I'll give you an example. My dad produced jazz music when he was alive, rest his soul. And one time when I was just in Black Flag for about 6 months, we'd always get these headlines for causing riots. Really, it was the cops coming and showing up and
beating on the kids,
and they in L.A. they were kind of causing the riots. There would be some gigs we'd play one note and they'd pull the plug and people would riot. So there was all this press not about our music, but the riots. So my dad was throwing a jazz show down in Hermosa Beach, and one of his contemporaries, one of his musicians, who had a son that was into punk rock, said, "I don't understand this music. My kid likes it. It's a bunch of noise." And my dad's name was Ozzy. Ozzy, and your kid's doing this music, and what do you think about this stuff? And he goes, "Look, it may be noise, maybe even to me or you, but he's traveling, he's learning, and more power to him." See, the guy wanted him to agree with him and say, "Yeah, it's a bunch of noise, it's a bunch of garbage." Where actually he said, it might be a bunch of noise to us, but he's traveling around the country and he's young, and more power to him. So in other words, the family stuck up for me.
That was your father's way of expressing his love for you.
Yes.
Thank you for that interpretation.
A very sweet man for saying that. But no, that was his way
you
of
should be a therapist. Yes, we feel a lot better about ourselves now.
That was his way of backing his son up, rather than say, "Oh,
yeah, that was strong."
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, my mom used to take care of us too, and on the West Coast we'd crash at their place, and on the East Coast everybody sleep in my basement. And if it wasn't really for the parents of the bands, well, I don't think we would ever got the thing off the ground. Any of us. We all struggled with it, and we all looked out for each other, and that's how we were able to go coast to coast and keep it and actually spread the gospel. So it was. It's like football Jesus.
The Jesus of football.
I had a friend who was out on the East Coast, and she was sick, and somehow she ended up in their dungeon. And she said, "Those guys were great to me. They brought me orange juice and devil dogs."
Yeah, we kept feeding her. She got sick
until she didn't have pneumonia or whatever the hell she had.
And we used to stay by the Necros out in Maumee when we played Detroit. That was one of our hangouts, and Corey's the bass player. He's got Touch and Go Records. His dad would put us up, and we'd crash there. And every place we went, somebody would, we'd sleep on somebody's floor, and that was much better than sleeping in the van on top of each other. So, it was a tough game. It's really funny to see how far you can go with something with the determination to continue pumping it down. And I think that the scene that we created, between Black Flag, the Ramones, the Misfits, all the Clash. I think all these kind of bands really changed the shape of music forever. I mean,
Absolutely.
The Blaring Out Show.